my name's Kate Queram. I'm with the News and Record. And this is James Super Chicken Johnson.
Thank you.
Okay, so can we start with just a little background about the type of music that you play and where you're from and all that good stuff?
I'm from Mississippi, born and raised in the Delta, born at the Crossroads, and I'm one of the last of the original Delta blues musicians. All the old ones died out, and we got the young people coming up trying to change the style of the music, and I'm one of the ones that's trying to keep it original.
Oh, wow. All right. I know that you make your own guitars I've seen the ones made out of gas cans. I've seen I don't know what it was made of, but it was hinged and it opened. I saw the real sparkly one and the shotgun one, which scared me a little bit. So can you tell me just how you got started making your own guitars?
That comes from being poor.
Okay.
When we come from in the country, we lived off the land and made do with what we had. And if we threw something away, we took a second look at it, went back and got it and done something different with it. Because if it's an item, an object like a ceiling fan, the motor went out, but the fan's still there. It's still shiny, it's still pretty. So let's figure out what's something to do with this, you know. You paid enough money for it to last forever, but it didn't. So we would take things and do different stuff with it. We used to take twigs and empty shoe boxes and make dresses. We would make squares, and then we'd slide the shoe box into the square, and we'd have a place to keep our goodies, socks, and what have you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. We were so poor, we was recycling before recycling was invented.
How did you know that the guitar would work? Like, had you seen a working guitar before? I would have no idea how to make a guitar
It started with the diddley bow. Diddley bow is one of the Delta's first blues instruments, which is derived from an African instrument called the kora. Because the kora was a gourd with vines for strings, so we didn't have gourds or vines. So we took a stick and put a string of baling wire with a nail on each end and stretched the wire, and then we put a can under it.
Wow.
To tighten the string, and then we would use a snuff bottle or a bottleneck or a tin can to slide on it. It was a percussionist as well as a slide guitar. So you can't hear it too well on the stick, and one day I got wise. I put it on the side of the house. You know, we had those little tin-top shacks out in the country.
Yeah.
So I put it on the side of the house. I tightened that thing up and I hit it. It said, boom, boom. Boy, it resonated all through the house. Oh, boy, I got me a big diddly bow now. That thing was sounding good.
Wait, did your family like that?
Oh, no, that was the problem. Mom was on the inside of the house. Like, what in the world is going on? The boom, the boom, the boom. I was freaking that thing. And the best slide of all was the snuff bottle. You know, they had those snuff bottles with the notches on the bottom. 2-notch, 3-notch, 4-notch.
Okay.
So, but the snuff bottle, he gave it that nice warm sound. It get like, and looked like every time Mama wanted to dip a snuff, I wanted to play my diddly bow. And you ain't never heard no Mississippi woman go off about her snuff bottle, have you? If you don't bring my snuff bottle, I'll come out there and kill you.
Well, you're one of 11 children, right?
There was 21 of us. My mom didn't have 21. My grandmother raised me. She had 14 of her own. And her oldest daughter got sick and had to go to the hospital. And she had 7. So my grandma had to take that 7 in. And so that made 21, and I made 22.
I can barely manage my dog.
That's why we were so poor.
So do you still make all of your own guitars?
Oh, yeah. I think I'm very fortunate, though. I started out with nothing and still got 90% of it left. Somebody shoot that thing.
Of all the ones you've made, do you have a favorite?
No. My guitars and my music are pretty much like my children. I put my all into it, my heart into it, everything into it to make it the best that I could make it. And every time I make one, I say, oh, boy, I like this one real well. This is my favorite. I'm keeping this one. I'm not going to sell it. First thing I'm on, let's make a deal. They keep counting. I said, nah, man, it ain't for sale. He said, anything's for sale if the price is right. So I turned it to Money Hall. Come on down, let's make a deal.
Okay, and then in one of the videos that I watched of you playing, I think it was well, I don't know if you call it a banjo. It looked like a banjo to me.
It's a guicho.
The sparkly one?
It's a guicho.
You were
All of
wearing-
them got names.
Okay.
So I started out with the gas can, the military gas can, the 5-gallon gas can like you see on the back of the Jeep. I was cleaning out the warehouse one day and there was an old guitar in there, a neck in there, and I threw it on the ground and threw the can out. By the time I get through enough stuff and I walk out and I look and there was that can laying just right on that guitar neck. I thought, oh shoot, man, that was a piece of artwork here. I can put that neck on that guitar, that can, and make it look like a guitar. So it'd be artwork. I was going to make artwork and take it to the museum. So somehow or another, must have been the work of the Lord, I mounted that neck on just right. Oh, now all I need now is a piece of wire, man. Make it look like it's got a guitar string on it. I had no idea, no intentions of making a guitar. So I mounted that wire on there. Well, I couldn't find the wire, so I got an old guitar string, and I put it on there. And just like on the side of that house, I hit that thing, and it resonated. Dong. Uh-oh. Yeah, lights started popping on in my head. I said, shoot, I'm going to make a guitar. So I put all the strings on it, and the thing actually played. So I went around showing it to everybody. They said, yeah, that's okay. I said, but it's so ugly. It's still army green, rusty. It was chip paint stuff and chipped out of it. So why don't you paint it? Man, I don't know nothing about painting nothing. So I had wrote a song called Down in the Delta, and I painted that song on there in pictures. And it started from there. So Chikan made a guitar out of a gas can. We call it a Chikan tar.
Okay, and I know the story, I looked it up, of the Super Chicken name, but will you tell everyone else the story? The story behind your name.
Oh, that's a long story. Back where I come from, if you could walk, you had chores. They call them jobs today, but back then we call them chores because everybody had something to do with so many people in the house. Everybody had to do something to make everything go. So I took care of the chickens. And I was short at the time, and I couldn't chase those chickens, so I learned to talk like a chicken. I trained those chickens. I would watch the old Big Daddy rooster, the noise that he made to make the hens come to him. He would scratch in the grass and make a certain noise, and they would all come running to him. So I copied off him one day. I did the same thing. And I started scratching the grass. They turn their head sideways and look at me. And do it again. And they all come running. And the old daddy rooster, male rooster, he didn't like that. Leave my hens alone. Leave my hens alone. He didn't like me calling the hens. But I got to a place where they wouldn't come every time, so I would come out with a bucket of corn. And when I made that noise, they would look, and then I'd throw the corn out there on the ground. Then they would all come to me. So when they got in the habit of doing that, I could just walk out in the yard now, and they automatically thought I had something for them to eat, and they would come to me. So everybody started calling me old chicken boy, so he can take care of them chickens real fine. That he talked to them chickens, you know. And when I started playing music, I used to take chickens with me on the stage. I had to fire the chicken because everybody was coming to see the chicken instead of me.
Do you still have chickens?
No.
Do you eat chicken?
Yep.
Do you feel bad when you eat chicken?
No, that's why I spell my name Chikan. And the K is for cannibal.
Okay, and then just talk to me about Delta blues and how it's different than other types of blues. I don't know much about blues.
Delta blues is an original type of music that comes from the heart and from the soul. It comes from slavery, hard times, sharecropping, working in the field. They started out singing about the hard times they was having. And where we lived, and there was always called the big house, which was the boss man's house, was in the middle of all of the sharecropping houses. So on rainy days or weekends when we didn't work, they would all sit out in the yard and sing. And he would listen to what they were singing about, and it was defining him. Oh no, he said, that's troublemaking music. That's devil music. I don't want to hear that. Y'all just gotta sing. Go out in the woods and sing it. So they started going out in the woods. They found an old abandoned house out in the woods, and everybody started meeting in there. And that's how the juke house came about. That's why the juke houses was always out in the country, because everybody went out there and they sing. The old field songs is what they call them. They sing the old field songs all day in the field. But on Sunday, they sing the same songs in church, but they clean it up.
Why do they call it a juke house?
Because they'd be juking up in there.
Oh, okay. And then,
They'd be having a ball, drinking moonshine and kicking up dust. They had dirt floors, you know. They were just juking.
how did you learn that type of music? Was it just what you grew up with?
I was born into it. That's
Okay.
what I grew up, you know. My grandpa used to have what you call front porch parties because my grandpa was a Mason. Also was a first cousin to Robert Johnson. And he would cover up his meetings by having a front porch party. And when he had this party, he worked the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad was stealing people off the plantation and setting them free, taking them through the. So he had to have certain people, and these people didn't trust anybody. So he used people with permanent names, like the old musicians, Jimmy Reed, Muddy Water, John Lee Hooker, Slim Harpo, Sonny Boy Williams, and people like that would come and to play at the party. So it looked like they was having a party, but they was always also having a meeting, telling them who house to go to and what house to go to. But if he would just send me and I walk up and say, my name's James Johnson, I come to do, oh, they not going nowhere with me. It had to be a well-known name. If you walk up and say, my name's Jimmy Reed or my name's John Lee Hooker, oh yeah, Bro Johnson sent you.
Yeah.
So they already know their name. So then they would leave and go out into the woods and they travel all night.
Did you know that that was going on when you were a kid? Like, did you understand it?
Yeah, when I was young, they called me old. And now that I've gotten old, they say I'm young.
I think that's good. You're doing it the right way. Okay.
In other words, they call me Bass Ackwards.
Okay, and you're a regular at Morgan Freeman's Blues Club
Yeah.
in Mississippi.
Yeah, I play there on special occasions, during festival time and New Year's, and when there's a special event or somebody have a private event.
How did that get started?
Well, I done the grand opening when they was there. Well, before they even opened the club, we had a club called a Crossroads, 4961 Crossroads around Sunflower. And when Morgan come to town, he wants somewhere to party and drink. So they would always come there, and his partner, Bill, would want to go home early, and Morgan wouldn't want to go, so I had to bodyguard him. You watch over him, Chicken, take care of him, and, you know, I'll come back and get him later on. And he get drunk, and he started, I take him in the back and put him on the sofa. He sat back there and go to sleep with a big old cigar in his hand. And one night we smelled something burning. Go back and look, he done set the sofa on fire.
Is Morgan Freeman going to be mad that you're telling this story?
No, he'd always mess with me when I come in. If I'm on the stage, he'd come in. He don't play, he really don't know much about it. He'd walk up and look at me, he said, pull the E string. I pulled the E string, all right, let's party.
Okay, and then you have an all-female band called the Fighting Cocks.
Yes.
Which is kind of amazing. Do you have an all-female band on purpose, or did it just kind of work out that way?
No, it wasn't on purpose. I had guys at first. It was Super Chicken and the Fighting Cocks. And these guys was always, couldn't understand who the leader was. Everybody want to be the leader. Hey, I'm the leader. This is my band, my name, and I'm furnishing all the equipment, I'm furnishing all the transportation and everything. So I'm the leader here. I'm Super Chicken and you're a Fighting Cock. So Fighting Cock means you're a worker, you're a member in the band. We get in the club and they start counting the people in the band, in the club. Wow, it's a lot of people here tonight. We ought to make a lot of money. So I said, if you got your job at Walmart and all the people that come in Walmart and they run the day's time, you count them and see how much you're going to get paid.
So did you kick them out and then hire all the women?
Well, no, they tried to pull a trick on me. They was going to jack me up for more money. About 2 or 3 days before time to go on a tour.
Yeah.
They said, well, we're not going unless we get paid a certain amount of money. I said, well, you want to make more than what I do. Well, we're not going if we can't get paid. I said, okay, bye. He said, just like that? I said, just like that. The old saying is, one monkey don't stop no show. I'm going to be Super Chicken when you're gone. So my daughter was 15 years old at the time. She said, Daddy, I'll play drums for you. And her uncle, he said, I'll play the bass. I said, well, that's all I need. Let's go.
Well.
So her uncle couldn't stay, and I needed another bass player. And I had met Heather in Florida earlier. And during that time, she didn't have nothing to do, so I called her up and asked if she wanted to come play. She said, sure. So when she came, and we started playing, and then later on, Lala came, and her husband was my secondary bass player, and he got jealous because she got in the band, and he quit. He didn't want to play with her.
These men all sound obnoxious.
Yeah. So now I'm trying to think of a name for the band. They said, what do you mean you think of a name for the band? So I got these 3 girls. So we got to change the name of Super Chicken and the Fighting Cocks. Said, we want to be Fighting Cocks.
Perfect.
So Super Chicken and Fighting Cocks are all girls.
So how long ago was that?
My daughter's been playing 15 years. Lala's
wow.
14 and Heather's 12.
Okay. So and how did your daughter learn how to play drums?
Her mom had a club, and she was always, whenever the band was over, we were done playing, she'd always be up there beating on the drums.
That's awesome.
And she would watch real close, and she learned how to keep the beat. And she started about 12. She was playing on the stage in the place. I said, well, at 15, I took her on the road.
That's awesome. Did you always want to be a musician?
No, I had no idea, no thoughts of being a musician. Didn't even know what it meant. But because I played, it was, you know, a traditional thing. There was always instruments around the house, always guitars around the house. I worked everywhere I could, done everything I could until I got too old to get a job. So I said, well, I know how to play guitar.
What were some of the other jobs you had?
I done truck driving, taxi driving, construction work, you name it. The taxi driver is really where I got the name Super Chicken. I got me a job. It was my part-time job in the wintertime when I didn't work in the fields. I drove a taxi cab, and the people from the home place knew me as Chicken Boy. So I'm driving taxi. I was fast. I had this red car. They called me Fast Red because I come right in and get you as soon as you call me. So one day, one of the old ladies from the home place came by there. She said, send that Chicken Boy by here and pick me up. The dispatcher said, we ain't got nobody named Chicken. Yeah, that boy drive that red car, his name Chicken. And there was another lady sitting there that lived in town that I hauled all the time. She said, well, he's a super fast chicken because he'll sure come and get you. Then the dispatch kind of all screwed up, and she called me on the radio. She said, Super Chicken, you got a special at the cab stand.
I feel like
I didn't answer. I'm like, who in the world is Super Chicken?
I feel like that could have gone to, like, you could have either become like a superhero vigilante or a musician.
Say that again.
I feel like you either, with the name Super Chicken, you either could have become like a superhero or a musician. So you had options.
It was my CB handle as
Yeah.
a truck driver.
Did you drive
to
the
start
like
out.
big rigs?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, they even bought me one. That's a lonesome life.
Yeah. Do you still have it?
You study going away from home instead of coming home all the time. No, I got rid of that thing. It's a lonesome life.
Okay, so what is it like to be a full-time successful musician?
I have no other choice. I can't get a job nowhere.
Okay, and were you here at the folk festival last year as well?
Yeah, I was at the folk festival, but not here. Lowell, Massachusetts.
So what do you think of Greensboro?
I love it. I love it.
Yes, it's unfair. You
homely.
have to say that, but I appreciate it.
It's homely. We got the same kind of weather.
Okay, Super Chicken will play tomorrow at noon on the lawn stage and at 5:45 at the dance pavilion. Does anyone have any questions? No.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.
The reason I work so hard on it. Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, I'm on Facebook. Yeah, and I'm on YouTube.
He's very
Yeah.
Googleable. There
Spell
aren't too many
chicken.
Super Chickens.
Make sure you spell chicken Chikan.
The K is for cannibal.
And if you ever go to Japan, don't say Chikan. Say Chicken. Chikan is bad in Japan.
Did you learn that the hard way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I serenaded the prime minister with a cigar box. I went there with the governor of Mississippi, Haley Barbour and I. He went there to get a bill signed, right? I serenaded the Prime Minister with my cigar box. I like it, this guy, Super Chicken. He's a great guy. He's a good man. He said, but Mr. Super Chicken, he said, we got a problem. I said, what's the problem? He said, Chikan is bad in Japan. He said, worse yet, you Super Chikan. What are we going to do? I said, okay, I'll change the spelling. So I took out the A and put an E in there, make it Chikan. You change your spelling, your name? Yeah, I do that for the respect of the people. He said, I like this guy. He said, because I like this guy, he said, I signed the bill. He signed the bill for a Nissan plant down in Canton, Mississippi, the biggest plant in Mississippi. So I wins the governor's award. I'm at the governor's mansion there in Jackson. I said, hey, Mr. Barber. I said, since I'm the reason we got this Nissan plant here, I said, don't I get a new Nissan or something else? He pat me on the back. He said, oh, don't worry, Chicken. We got a Toyota plant coming later on. Typical Mississippi.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Oh, you're welcome. No problem. That means I love you. That means come back again. You're welcome. Thank you.